little bit of England, a little bit of West Ham, just so you know what's coming up in this video. Don't want to do false advertising, you know, more of a moan about England. And then just some West Ham transfer tittle-tattle, as you would expect. I know you're probably thinking, well, hold on a second, you spoke about England for 2 hours yesterday in a watch-along. I'm sure not everybody fancied going all the way through that. Let's be perfectly honest with you. And it was a complete bore fest. And I don't just mean the watch-along. It was, I guess the watch-along is only as good as the match you're watching. And it weren't very good at all. No disrespect to Scotland, who, of course, did very, very well indeed. It's more to do with Gareth Southgate, actually. And his general demeanour. The demeanour of the team. And the messaging that's coming out from Gareth Southgate. So let me just deal with that before we get onto the West Ham stuff. I can't quite remember what the saying is, but it's really something about giving something your best. So when you stop, you don't have any regrets. Looking back on something, did you try everything you could? Can you look back and say, you know what, I gave it my best, tried everything, I really did try, just wasn't good enough. Now, Euro 96 has been in the news an awful lot recently. Well, it's obvious, isn't it? European Championships. It was a really good time to be an England fan. England did very, very well. Fell at the second to last hurdle. But I do think that the players, Gazza, Shearer, the manager, Terry Venables, pretty much everybody associated with the team can look back on that and say, not without any regret. There will be regrets they didn't go further. There'll be little bits and pieces they could probably put their finger on, you know, a tackle here, a corner there, or that sort of thing. But by and large, as an overview of that European Championship, it's pretty much sure that the England contingent, we had to look back and go, you know what, we gave that a right old good crack. We had a really good go at that. We attacked well with Sheringham and Shearer and Gazza, and McManaman was playing. You know, had a really good go at it. And probably look back and think, you know what, we were unlucky, but we were pretty good. That was a good time. I'm looking at it now, and I'm looking at Southgate, and I'm not sure if Gareth Southgate fails, and I suspect he will. Now, I put this into context because France have just drawn with Hungary. I think it was with Hungary. So not everything always goes to plan. Does that put the England performance into context? No, I think it probably puts the result into context. I think if you're judging performance, you've got to look at performance. Judging result, you go on result. And actually, the performances of some of the bigger teams have been much better than England, even if they haven't quite got a result. France were a better team. They just didn't get the result. I think it's hard to say that England were a better team against Scotland. And this is my point against Southgate. Freudian slip there. Will he be able to look back and say, oh, I did everything? I don't think he will. I think he looks back with regret. I think this whole thing of taking Foden off and putting Grealish on, when it was really clearly quite evident that one of the two holding midfielders needed to come off. Now, against Croatia, I didn't think you had two holding midfielders. I thought you had one, which was obviously our own Declan Rice, because I thought Calvin Phillips was going forward and was joining the attack. He was more box to box, really, wasn't he? And certainly getting in and provided the assist and had a really good shot for a goal. That wasn't happening. So at that point, when you're trying to chase the game or you're trying to get a goal, why take off your attacking midfielder? There was a lovely little interchange of passing. I mentioned it before, which was Grealish, Mason Mount chipped the ball over for Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw got an attacking position, but realistically, it was the wavelength of Grealish and Mount and just attacking players being around there that created that opportunity. And I think England had one shot on target. So you think, well, hold on a second. Why take Foden off? Because Foden is going to enjoy playing that type of football that I just described. And what you're dealing with a team who are sitting back and not leaving any space in behind. And we saw this with Croatia. The ball in behind for Rashford isn't there. The ball in behind for Sterling more or less isn't there. You're going to have to either get a set play, you're going to have to cross it over. We weren't crossing it, as I've already mentioned. We just seem to have I just sort of decided not to go with that aspect of playing football. Then you're going to have to play 1-2s, do something a little bit crafty, do a dribble, do a really good dribble, or a very powerful and accurate long shot. And that's what you need to break them down. That is what England needed. Why take them off? And I just look back and I think, Southgate, is he going to look back with regret? Now, his press conference was quite telling. Can't remember the precise words, but in his press conference, he said, I understand because it's Scotland, the fans are looking at this emotionally, so I completely understand their response. Well, the suggestion is that the England fans are giving a disproportionate response because it's Scotland, because it's a home nation clash. They're overreacting, but I get it. That's what he's saying. That's what Southgate's saying. I get it. I get the hissy fit. England want to win against Scotland. I think he misses the point. I didn't see, and I'd like to think we had a good cross section, because there was, we were doing the watch along. There's lots of people. I've talked the whole game with England fans, and we're chatting with each other. So it's as good as you're going to get without sitting in the pub amongst England fans, right? And then very few comments were saying we must win this because it's Scotland. We're playing badly. I expect better against Scotland. The Scotland thing didn't come into it. It was just England are playing badly. And I think Southgate is missing a massive trick here if he thinks that there's the overreaction because it was Scotland, because that means he's not going to assess the game correctly. It means he's not going to look at the game and think, what did we do poorly? It means he's thinking, actually, we did all right. The fans just overreacted because it's Scotland. That's really the wrong thing to take from it, because I think the fans are really quite worried because they know if we do get out of the group, and we might not, by the way, we might not get out of the group, they do the third place thing. Maybe we will, but I think that the point of the matter is, I think the fans know that we ain't, the moment we play a decent team, we're going out. But Southgate must know that as well. And I just look at him and I think, where's your job preservation? Why don't you, bearing in mind he was part of that squad, that Euro 96, so he knows what it's all about. Why doesn't he want to be like Terry Venables, who can look back and think, okay, I really gave it my best. I built an attacking team. We had a right old crack, a right old go. We didn't quite make it. It didn't quite work out for us. But, we'll look back with no regrets. And look, I think because it was in England and because of the song, 3 lines on a shirt and all the rest of it is coming home, I think the whole carnival atmosphere of the thing makes us look back on it with this nostalgia. But everybody looks back and they are sort of heroes. This team won't be heroes. Believe it or not, we're playing in England as well. This team will not be looked on as heroes. It'll be looked on as a bit of a failure. And I just think to Southgate, how do you want to be remembered? Because I think Gareth Southgate at the moment is presiding over his own dismissal. He's watching his sacking in slow motion. And he seems to be doing very, very little to change the course of it. You're not going to win these championships by playing the way England are playing. I would love it. I would love that last sentence be taken as a clip and repeated back to me. To tease me because it would mean we've won the championship. I just don't think we will. I just find it really strange. I think it's not just where is your ambition. Yes, I do wonder where his ambition is, but where's your survival mechanism? Where's your will to do better? Where's your desire to go out on your sword? Why can't you see that we're withering on the vine? It's insipid. It's a load of old rubbish. And if he did decide actually a draw against Scotland is enough, and we'll try and mathematically stumble our way through, then shame on him again. Because when it does fail, he will look back with regret, and he'll look back and think, if only I'd attacked them. I don't just mean Scotland. I mean the game as a whole. I mean the tournament. If only I'd have attacked that tournament. And how's he going to feel like next season? I'm not necessarily saying you have to play Sancho or Bellingham or whatever, but what about next season if Sancho and Bellingham, if they're both at Dortmund, are playing absolutely brilliantly? People are going to look at it and say, well, hold on a second, why weren't these guys in? These guys are fantastic on the European stage. Why weren't they featuring for England? I don't know. Look, I said I'd talk about West Ham a bit. I've moaned about England for 9 minutes. I'll just talk about West Ham ever so quickly. West Ham, it says that there's this player, Junior Firpo from Barcelona. He's a really good player, by the way. I mean, he's a really, really good player. I mean, we've been linked to him for a long time, and apparently Southampton are linked with him as well, which you sort of understand because Bertrand has walked away on a free. I believe that's the case. But this lad, Firpo, is very good. Very, very good, actually. So it'll be interesting to see if that happened. He would not be a bad signing at all. I think if he came in, well, it ain't going to be Cresswell that gets ditched. It'll be Masuaku. That being said, we're in Europe, but still we probably wouldn't have three left backs. Is Cresswell a left back anymore? Not so much, really. There's the links with Ivan Toney. Look, Ivan Toney don't need to sell. Brentford don't need to sell Ivan Toney. They just don't. they've had this wonderful project, Brentford, which is meant to get them in the Premier League. Well, they're in the Premier League now. They don't need to sell anyway, and they shouldn't do. I think it'd be really interesting for Brentford to see if their model of the way they sign players and build them up and sell them on, actually, if their model can translate to the Premier League. And can they basically scout and purchase their way without spending much money to Premier League safety and survival? That's really interesting. I'm interested to see it, to be honest, and I just don't see it. 28 million for Ollie Watkins was tempting. They were in the Championship. There wasn't a lot of money coming in, and that makes a hell of a difference to a club like that. It allowed them, it absolutely allowed them to go out and buy these players, but also operate in the Championship comfortably because they keep selling players. Obviously, they sold Ben Rama to us as well, and lots of other players, Mopai and other guys that have done very, very well there. But I just think it'd be really interesting to see what happens for them. So I don't even believe all these leaks, links, as me with the leaks again. Linked to someone called Paul Onochu, Nigerian striker, plays for Genk, 27. Again, this is just not something I think we should be doing. I think we need to really start setting the bar in terms of the age profile a lot lower than that. There's loads and loads of Jesse Lingard news. It is hard to... There's so much of it. It's hard to know what to believe. The Pereira one's funny. The Pereira one at West Brom. I think he's that good. I think why is it only us and a couple of other clubs getting linked to him? Why isn't everybody getting linked to him? It is weird, right? You think everyone would get linked to this player? Hard to know. The Aaron Ramsey one. Well, that's going to, until he signs for somebody, that's going to continue to resurface again. The age profile, I'm not going to complain if he came to West Ham. I would not. West Ham are not good enough to be turning down a player of Aaron Ramsey's quality. We're not. That being said, again, it's the age profile. European football, good player, really good player. And the last one is Odsonne Edouard, who, of course, plays for Celtic. Linked to him quite a lot. Now, obviously, Celtic are a club very well known to David Moyes, who used to play for him as a Celtic supporter. I mean, you know, Gio's spoken about this guy a few times because obviously he's seen him play on numerous occasions. Striker, very, very interesting on this one. I'm still not ruled out, and the old Adam Hlossek rumours are doing that, but it is more Liverpool than West Ham now, which is a bit of a shame for all the reasons I said in yesterday's video. I do still wonder if the striker we're going to get is going to come from outside of all the ones that have been linked. I would love that. I would really love it. Look, don't get me wrong, I'd love to sign Hlossek, I'd love to sign En-Nesyri. I really would. But if we're not, I just think it'd be really great for West Ham's, not just scouting strategy, but the way we don't want to get into this whole leak culture. It'd be really, really good, actually, if we could sign a player that none of us know about, and no one's been leaked. It leaked, and none of us have been linked. He's not been linked to us by anyone. I just think, okay, well, we're now starting to do business without anybody knowing about it, and I'd really, really like that. Right, okay, there you go. Sorry, mostly in England, moan. Be interested to know what you think about it. Obviously, if you were in the chat yesterday, and it was nice. It was nice to have everyone for the watch along. Really good to watch the game. It was actually much better watching it with other people than watching it on my own, because that would have been frustrating. I think actually I might have thrown something at the telly. I probably would have missed, but no, actually, just to the left of the telly would be just perfect, really. Anyway, I'll catch up with you all tomorrow.